The 2017-18 budget speaks about low resource generation and more steps to curb black money generation. Is the shift to digital payments robust enough to make meaningful difference as cash transactions with no sale receipts are continuing?
You see, low resource generation meaning what we have talked about is that the resources, the revenue receipts, that particularly the tax receipts are very realistically projected, and if at all there is going to be any sort of deviation from those tax numbers, the deviation will be for the better, so that the tax revenues can only go up, they cannot go down, because this year also we have not taken into account how much of what will be the receipt under the Garib Kalyan Kosh.
Okay.
Not Garib Kalyan Kosh, under the Garib Kalyan Yojana.
Garib Kalyan,
that income disclosure,
that
income disclosure scheme, what is called as the Garib Kalyan Yojana.
Okay.
Next year also there will be additional revenue because of the thanks to the cash deposits. Huge amount of cash deposits which have come. Now,
how much has come under that?
That the RBI will reveal the figures.
Okay.
The RBI will reveal the figures, but Revenue Department is already doing the data mining.
Okay.
The data mining shows that in large number of accounts, the cash deposits which have been made have absolutely no correlation with the income tax return filed by the individual or the business. Now, there is an opportunity available for these people to avail that benefit up to, to avail the benefit under the Garib Kalyan Yojana up to 31st. Now, if they do not avail that benefit up to 31st, then naturally they will get a notice and they will have to pay the tax.
Correct.
So, this is a new, this window, this opens up a new window to get additional revenues. That we have not assumed that because of these cash deposits, so much revenue will come. So, therefore, that is what we have said. It's not low resource generation, it's a very realistic estimate which has been made. Now, more steps to curb black money generation, it's a continuous exercise.
No, because people are still not giving you cash receipts. They are taking in cash and still not.
You see, once GST come in, you have to see demonetization and GST. You have to see it together.
Okay.
Now, once GST is introduced on 1st July, every dealer or every sale will have to be brought into the GST network.
Okay.
So that when somebody does a sale, he gets the benefit of the input tax credit.
Okay.
Without input tax credit, naturally the prices will be higher.
Okay.
Because GST, as you know, ensures that there is no tax on tax.
Yeah.
So if let us say I am a retail shop owner, and while purchasing the material from the wholesaler, let us say when I have got the material from wholesaler, I would have paid a certain tax to him. Now, unless I sell it to another person and show it in my sales by booking it in my sales register and issuing a memo to him, a bill to him, I will not be able to get credit of the tax which I have paid to the wholesaler. So therefore, once GST comes in, this kind of incidences of not issuing bill, etc., will be, keeping transactions outside the, tracking path, that will automatically reduce.
Okay. The arrest of former senior IDBI and Kingfisher Airlines officials have sent a strong signal. There are reports that more arrests from other banks involved in the KFA case are likely.
On individual cases, I would not be able to comment. It is for the investigative agencies to take a view. But so far as any action which has been taken, on a legitimate basis and on good faith, the concerned officers have nothing to worry.
In the budget, the government has talked about confiscating assets of willful defaulter who try to flee the country. What about other willful defaulters?
No, we have in the budget speech, the finance minister is talking about certain big time offenders.
Yeah, but who have fled the country. But there are so many others which we have. We had also published
with
figures.
So many others who are within the country. Now it is for the banks or for the law enforcement agencies to inquire the matter with them, to investigate their individual cases, and to bring to take appropriate action, bring them to book wherever required as per the law.
Okay.
But here we have cases of certain big time offenders who the investigative agencies or the banks are not able to reach at all. Second thing is, you are not able to proceed further because the person is missing. So Now, the intention behind this is to quicken the whole process. Ultimately, the law of the land will have to prevail. So, if somebody is escaping the law of the land by just remaining away from the country, obviously he has to be, he has to be made accountable. And this assets, the confiscation of the assets which has been talked about, it's only to ensure his presence. It's only to ensure that he comes and submits himself before the courts or before the law enforcement agencies.
What are the safeguards being put in place to prevent other KFT-like loans?
I think generally with regard to, I don't want to talk on individual case, but generally the governance standards, if you see the governance standards, there is lot of focus which government is now giving on improving the governance standards in the banks. And the whole, constituting a banking board bureau, a BBB, which has been constituted. Main focus is to improve the governance standards in the banks by, for example, appointing non-official directors. The BBB will recommend the names of non-official directors. Then we have now the post of chairman and MD has been now segregated. You have chairman's post is held by a person and the CEO and MD is somebody else. So the all powerful post of and over concentration of power, that is also done away with. The independent directors are the ones whose names will be recommended by the BBB. So therefore the focus is on improving the governance standards, which should ensure that all loans which are sanctioned or all decisions which are taken on various loan proposals are decisions are the appropriate quantum of due diligence is followed.
At the recent RBI press conference, Deputy Governor S.S. Mundra had stated that the overall NPAs are rising due to many of the restructured loans slipping into NPAs. What is the failure rate of restructured loans?
So I think you see what they are referring to, it's something which is natural, it is bound to happen. In fact, I must mention here, as the as the finance minister has already clarified, and he said that in the parliament as well as in outside in the press conference, the same loans, given the same loans, given the sluggish nature of the demand outside as well and in India, the same loans are now, as time passes, their interest burden and their penal interest burden is rising. So therefore, as time passes, there are certain some more cases of default of the loans which were sanctioned earlier, and RBI, being the regulator, has announced number of that SDR, CDR, then S4A. Now it is for the banks to to come in and resolve the stressed asset problem. One problem which the banks face is that when they put an individual asset into auction, there were not enough takers. So therefore, last year's budget and this year's budget, we have considerably, we have brought about necessary changes in the SURFACE Act, in the DRT Act. This year's budget, the finance minister has announced listing of that securitization receipt. When an asset reconstruction company takes over an asset and there are others who are investing into it, then in return for others' investment, the asset reconstruction company issues what is called a SR, a securitization receipt. So that securitization receipt will now get listed in the stock exchanges and can be traded. The marketability of these SRs is now assured once it gets listed in the stock markets. So it will add, it will sort of bring in greater liquidity into the asset reconstruction companies. If I am investing in the, through securitization receipts, my money is not locked up. I can always sell my SRs and get out. So therefore, government has taken number of measures. And another thing which is happening is that a lot of international investors, particularly from Canada and other places, they are also looking and investing into various ARCs.